it's Lenny White. Return to forever. Oh, what a day, hey? Melbourne, lockdown, lick down, 5 days. Okay, on the same day that dear Chick Corea has passed away. Okay, I woke up to that. Last night I should introduce myself. Hey, my name's Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facebook Live, here with Doris. Okay, and what it is we've got, last night I put up the thing, I'm going to go back to the basics, the way that Facebook just started up, because what's happening with the Alex Theatre, we're having a bit of, we were going to have a rest, but now we've got more of a rest. Okay, so there you go, someone arrest us. Okay, so what happens is, bad joke, and what happens is that I was going to field questions from dirty double dippers, you know, the wonderful people like Marcus and Andrew and everybody else who was going to ask me questions. I was going to get ready to do it. And then I woke up this morning and the very first thing I got was Chick Corea has passed away from that awful word cancer. It seems to be everywhere. I don't know what's going on. What is it? What is it with that? Okay, so what it is, yeah. Chick Corea has been a major part of my musical development. What happens is, you know, sort of thing. It was just, I just remember getting the leprechaun home. Chick Corea's the leprechaun. I am the leprechaun. What's that? Wayne's World. And getting blown away with this new guy on the scene by the name of a young Stevie Gadd. You know, that kind of thing. Oh my Lord, that was my first album. And then I just sort of backtracked and all that. And so, yet again, tonight's Facebook Live is a tribute to a beautiful musician who has gone to the great gig in the sky in Chick Corea. I started up Facebook in 2019. I'll be honest with you, I started it up after my brother passed away, my brother Len. And it's been a godsend. It just got me out of a dark, deep hole. Things changed, and with all you beautiful people out there, what it is we, you know, just got out of it, and it was fantastic. And then, what can you say? You know, that kind of thing. 2009, and then 2020, then COVID hit, and you know, and it's just been a thing. I've missed three Fridays. I've missed 3 Facebooks in close to 2 years now. I missed one because I fell asleep on a January 40 degrees something day on the couch, and I woke up and I went, oh shit. And the other 2 because just Christmas just passed and New Year's Eve just passed. Were both on Friday, so I missed those 2. So I've missed 3. One was my fault, and the other 2, well, you know, you've got to have. Oh well, anyway, there you go. But what happened? What started to happen? It started with Ginger Baker. You know, started to drop off the perch. People, all these beautiful people, and so I would do a tribute and all that. So that's what I'm going to do tonight with dear Chick Corea. Even though he's not a drummer, my God, the drummers he had with him. Okay. Now I've posted a picture already with all my vinyl, and I've got them back there, and I've got them in order too. And the first one, I'm going to put them up here. All that like I do, but the first album, it's not the first one I bought, but it's this one here, Chick Corea's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, and that's an incredible like first kind of album kind of thing. His first album was Tones for Joan's Bones, and that was Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, and the thing I love about that album was the incredible jazz drummer Roy Haynes's cymbal sound. It had that beautiful, and it's up in the mix, right? The first track, Steps. The only thing I'm missing is Chick. Okay, there's that. I've got my triggers on because I'm going to use those in a minute. I don't have the opportunity to use my triggers at the Alex Theatre unless I trigger up Delilah and all that. But this is the specialty of Doris here, Doris, the D-dub. And what happens is that's Roy Haynes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Chick Corea's music. And I'm also, because it's essentially a drum show, that kind of thing, of course it's going to be a little bit drum-centric. So what happens there, hang on, I've got dropouts. What are you doing here? Hey. There you go, sorry about that, I'll edit that out later. Anyway, so what goes on is that you've got that Roy Haynes. And when he goes into the solo for that, it's really quite avant-garde. It's like... Oh, it's gorgeous. It's fantastic. There you go. So there's that. That's from Now He Sings, Now He Sobs. Around about 66, 67. And it's that kind of thing. So you... Chick Corea was, for a while there, really out there. You know, that kind of thing. Which I'll get to. And then he went very, very tonal and, sort of went quite romantic warrior and all this sort of stuff. So what happens is, what I want to do is sort of take you through that. But that's Roy Haynes, right? Look him up, I'll put him up, I don't know, there. And I'll drop out, come on. Oh, here, oh, here, 1, 2, But I'm just going to go to the ride cymbal. Beautiful sound on that, drum sound on that album there. Excuse me 1 second, I seem to have a few little things here. It's been, this little headset has been with me since 2004. It's probably showing its age as well. Okay, so anyway, there you go. I'm going to read about Chick Corea now. This is a bit of a longer one tonight. It's usually a 25-minute, or I try for 25 minutes. But tonight is just going to go as long as the memory cards last, I think. Here we go. Armando Anthony, Chick Corea, June the 12th, 1941, February the 9th, 2021. Okay, that's when he passed away, and we all just found out this morning. Was an American jazz composer, keyboardist, band leader, and occasional percussionist. His compositions, Spain, 500 Miles High, La Fiesta, Armando's Rumba, and Windows, are widely considered jazz standards. As a member of Miles Davis's band in the late 1960s, he participated in the birth of jazz rock, later to be called fusion. There you go. I've always still called it jazz rock. Throughout the 70s, when I was coming up, it was always jazz rock, and then somehow it got rebranded fusion. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, jazz rock it is. Anyway, in the 1970s, he formed Return to Forever, along with Herbie Hancock, McCoy Tyner, Keith Jarrett, and Bill Evans. He is considered one of the major piano players to emerge in jazz during the post-John Coltrane era. Corea continued to pursue multiple collaborations and to explore different musical styles throughout the 1980s and 1990s. He was also known for promoting and fundraising for a number of social issues. Corea won 23 Grammy Awards and was nominated over 60 times. Okay, that's a lot of nominations. There you go. So what happens is that there's that business there. Now, essentially, Chick Corea, he was born in Massachusetts in America, but his heritage is of Southern Italian descent, which is, funnily enough, I know fairly well because I married into that for 10 years, sort of thing, and and all that, and I wish them all well if they're watching, all that stuff, and he's Southern Italian, Calabria, and all that, and there's a track off. One of the albums, I think it's Friends, the ones with the Smurfs on the cover, is it? It's called The Sicilian and all that. So that kind of European kind of flavour never left him, and Spanish as well. It's very big, so that's what I'll get into as well. So what starts to happen is when you're dealing with things like that, well, that's what Chick Corea was doing, I should say. What happened is that one of the things drum-wise, I've already talked about Roy Haynes, and what I'm going to try and do is talk in order and jazz stylings, what he used to be able to do, and even some of the scales. Styles, he changed things around a bit, so I'm going to get a little bit out there. And one of the other things is, like I've started with Roy Haynes, right? So first of all, that beautiful cymbal sound from Roy Haynes. I'm going to try and take as many of his people with him, if you know what I mean, from a drumming perspective. So we've got Roy Haynes, right? That kind of thing there. Okay, now he did that for a while. Of course, it was always solo, but the big break, I suppose, the huge break was when he joined Miles, started playing with Miles Davis and all the wonderful people. And this is after the Miles Davis second great quintet, which had Tony Williams on drums and Herbie Hancock on piano, Ron Carter on bass, Wayne Shorter on horn, tenor saxophone, I should say, to be specific. And then Miles Davis started to add things. So this is the Bitches Brew era, right? And by that stage, you had people like Jack DeJohnette, who is one of my favourite. I was just talking about him just the other week. And Lenny White, who went on to Return Forever. I'm getting to him. But Jack DeJohnette, and when we're talking about that, what happened with Chick Corea was, this is when he started to get into electronics and synthesizers and stuff, electric piano. And one of the things that he did was he put his electric piano through what's known as a ring modulator. Frank Zappa did that as well with his guitar. And I've got something close to that here. Can you hear that there? There's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'll go up. Now what I'm also going to do here is start to introduce some of the kinds of harmonic things that he did as well, from a drumming point of view. Stuff like that. I'll mix as I go. But what happens is I have there an F-sharp Phrygian mode. And what a Phrygian mode, I've mentioned it many times on the show, but especially during his time of, was it My Spanish Heart album from the mid-70s and stuff like that, and the Return Forever stuff. But it's essentially a mode, it's based on the third step of a major scale. So if you're going to say just play C major, play it from E to E, right? And it's a minor tonality, so say E minor, and then just play the C major scale. You'll sound Spanish. And that's a lot of what was happening with his scales and stuff. One of the big things with Chick Corea also was he was a great fan of Bela Bartok, who I love as well, music for strings, percussion, and celeste. I had to study that for year 12. There you go, I still got the score over there. And what it is with Bela Bartok, one of the things when I was studying Bela Bartok, there was a big thing with him with the Hungarian minor scale and stuff, and then chromatics, and incredible stuff. I sort of put Bartok on a par with Stravinsky in many ways with that, which is really strange names to tell on basically what is a drum thing. But anyway, let's get back. He's the drummer of that time. It was Jack DeJohnette. So this is I'm not talking sort of like a jazz rhythm. It's starting to get funky, like. There's that kind of thing there. So there's that sort of business. Now, if I change it up, I'm going to go to the Hungarian major. I've got it noted down here. If you want to do... Did I say Hungarian? It's Hungarian major and Hungarian minor. I've got a Hungarian major here because Bela Bartok was Hungarian. He didn't invent it, but it's very much part of his style of music. Go listen to it. Concerto for Orchestra, by the way, Bela Bartok. he actually took a symphony orchestra and cut it in half. So it's all a bit like to and fro, you know, literally like, you know, have it that side. So if you get, I've got the album of it, you put your headphones on and there's that side, then that, it's crazy good. Go listen to it. Bela Bartok, or Bela, it's got one of those on the E, Bela Bartok Concerto for Orchestra. The reason I bring him up is because he was one of Chick Corea's favourite composers. You want to get inside Chick Corea, get to know the people he listened to and admired himself, revered himself, and the people that played with him too. I've already mentioned Roy Haynes, I'm on to Jack DeJohnette, I've mentioned Lenny White, I'm getting to him. And what happens is I'll go down the track of a Hungarian major. First, flat second, third, sharp 4, 5, 6, flat 7, octave. With a Jack DeJohnette kind of 1970 feel. This is Bitches Brew, Miles Davis live at the Fillmore, Black Beauty, those albums. Something like that anyway. I'm not sure if you got too much of the Hungarian major there, but at least you got, hopefully you're getting where I'm coming from with Jack DeJohnette and all that. Now, with that, you've got the electric piano sound with the aforementioned rig modulator, or you could do it with a flanger. This is where it gets a bit freaky now. Stuff like that. Now, that was going on for a while, and there was a lot of albums that came out that I just mentioned before. But then he, when he moved on from Miles Davis, he started a little trio with the wonderful Dave Holland on double bass. I roadied for him when he came to Australia with Sam Rivers in 1980. It was a long time. I had a Ford XY wagon, station wagon, it was a tank. And I was in a band called Trio Arcane, and we wanted to support them, but Sam Rivers said no. And then he put the hard word on my girlfriend, but that's another story. Lots of tales to be told over a few bit, and there you go. They were great times. I'll be honest, Sam. No worries. But what goes on is it was Dave Holland on bass and a drummer that no one's ever heard of, and I love him. Barry Alshill is a New York kind of loft drummer, if you know what I mean, and he was great. And if you went and had lessons with Barry Alshill in New York, he would give you one drum and he'd say, I want 50 sounds out of it, that kind of thing. So I'll take out Chick's flanged electric piano. So it'd be like... And then Chick Corea got together, took that trio and got together with one of my favourite crazy saxophone players in Anthony Braxton. Okay. And Anthony Braxton was just, he's a mathematical genius, incredible chess player, you know, sort of thing. Braxton's Gambit, isn't it? Queen's Gambit or whatever. But he was so precise and brilliant at what he does. He's still with us. So Chick Corea was going down the path of avant-garde there. And what would happen is with Barry Alshill and Dave Holland, it was just like an avant-garde supergroup, you know, that kind of thing. Then they called that band Circle. There it is. Circle. It's that one. Okay. Oh, there's a track on there called, I think it's Toy Room. I think it is. I could be wrong. I've got to listen to it again. They start the track off with a beautiful Miles Davis jazz classic, Nefertiti, off the Nefertiti album, Tony Williams. Ba ba da ba bum. Ba ba da ba da. Ba ba ba. Like that. If you listen to the original, I've gone off the track of Chick Corea for a little bit there, but what it was Tony Williams just started going crazy level by level every time they played the head. There you go. It's almost like a drum solo underneath the thing. Anyway, but they do it. And then there's another one called Toy Room. It could have been another one, I'm not sure. I've got to go back. But one of the things that Anthony Braxton did, and with Chick Corea as well, is that they'd hock it, and they do different things like that. Hocketing means you might take a melody and split the notes up between different instruments and stuff. But what they also did was they did a kind of a Fibonacci number thing. Same thing that Tool does with Danny Carey and stuff like that, if we're getting into a metal thing. But what it is with that particular, with one song, they'd start, like, imagine it was a 16-bar song. What they did was it's loosely called third stream, but that can be confused with another genre, but I'll come back to that. What happens is that they'll play the first bar, or the first phrase, if you like, but let's just call it bars. And so it's a 16-bar thing, right? So it's first bar. Then they'll play the first and the second. Then they'll go back and play the first, second, and third. Then the first, second, third, and fourth. And it keeps on going like that until get the whole thing. And by the time you get through it, it's like this hypnotic kind of just, hearing it again but with an extension. Hearing it again but with an extension. And in many ways, it actually precursored Philip Glass with his minimalism, because you kept hearing the same phrase, but it kept getting longer with the additions that each come, thing like that. Now, this is like early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, 71 I think, and there you go. So that's what happened there, and that's with Chick Corea there. That's part of the thing. So I haven't left Chick Corea. I'm talking about his compositional style, what he could do, the drummers that went with him, given this is what I'm going with, of course, and whenever I can, maybe one or two of the scales. He played every scale. It's not like this guy just played that one or whatever, but he could play anything he wanted to. But part of his style brought in these kinds of things like a Phrygian mode for his Spanish stuff, like My Spanish Heart and Spain, How many of us have learnt that at some stage or another? For me, it goes back 35, 40 years, something like that. I'm rambling on. We're into the start of his wonderful band, Return to Forever. And what happens, the first drummer for that is one of the most beautiful drummers and character is Ertu Morir. So, it's like that. Oh, let's have a look at these albums. Hey, let's go through that. Hey, where am I? Oh, got my back to the camera, very unprofessional. Where have I known you before? Hey, Return for No Mystery. Yeah. Oh, Romantic Warrior. Things used to get a bit romantic then and a little bit sci-fi and all that business. And with what happens there is the very first one, which I haven't got there, is with Ertu's wife, Flora Purim, and they both came out with Dizzy Gillespie and played the concert hall with his United Nations Orchestra back in the late 80s. That was a fantastic concert. I was up on the side. I could see Dizzy right there. He was right there, mate. And it was fantastic. And he was just like... And with that, Ertu being also with Weather Report, all of this stuff. I believe Editu, once he finished his stint with Return to Forever, actually he joined Weather Report, I think. I think that's the timeline. But what happens is with that kind of thing, of course, and even just last week I was doing things like the Latin bass drum and turning it into a little bit African. Well, I'll just go back there. Something like that. But rocking it up a little bit. And there's Editu. Go check him out. He's wonderful, okay, with what he does. There was a special, he was up there and he's had this gigantic concert and he actually pulled his sandals off and started doing rhythms with his sandals into the microphone. It was incredible stuff. And it was all, once again, a little bit avant-garde and all that. Stuff like that. Now, if I go a step further, the drummer that took over from Editu was the aforementioned Lenny White. Oh, his groove. He was like, I saw him as a pair with Billy Cobham in the day, that kind of thing. And he was sort of open style like Billy Cobham too, so he'd play it like that. But it's got that kind of like... something like that. Romantic Warrior, which is that one down there, which I'm going to put there, or maybe put it behind, seeing I've got the blue screen again, is... it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you got 2 2s and 2 3s, which adds up to 10. You could think of it as 5/4, but it's played more like a 10/8. And then the little bump like that is like a 9/8. And I hope that's okay. I hope that's right, correct. Go double check. It's the first track. It's the first track of Romantic Warrior. Ooh. I'm going to put the whirly thing on because there's a lot of sounds on that. I am the leprechaun. You got to celebrate that. He had a sense of humor. And and that's Lenny White. He had that kind of thing happening, right? Oh, doink, and that's Lenny White. I just went, oh, have a listen to that. Oh, I even bobbed up on Night Moves with Lee Simon once upon a time. I go, oh, have a listen, oh, all that sort of stuff. You know, it was great. In the 70s, there you go. And then what happens? There's Lenny White, okay, and with Return to Forever, Lenny White was there for, I think about 3 albums and all that. And then when that kind of incarnation, which is almost like the jazz rock supergroup with Al Di Meola and Stanley Clarke, what a lineup! But then Chick Corea moved on and called it Return to Forever, but kept Stanley Clarke. But then Jerry Brown got on drums, who's a super funky drummer. I used to use his sticks a lot once upon a time, but they were the real Do you remember the Jerry? They're still around, I'm sure, but the Jerry Brown signature sticks, they had that beautiful dark red finish, and they had a short taper, so they were really punchy, beautiful sticks. I used to keep them in my briefcase that I would go to schools and teach with them. So it's a bit of a different thing, because then they brought in a horn section, and Chick Corea's wife Gail Moran, pardon me, who had just come off the Mahavishnu Orchestra, second incarnation of that, and she's beautiful, incredible keyboard player in her own right, beautiful singer. She did this thing at the festival, Palais Theatre, 1979, with the Chick Corea band. That was a big band. I think Tom Brecklin was the drummer for that. I'm trying to remember all the names. That's the point of the show. Go off and jot the names down and go and check them out. Tommy Brecklin. And she had a mellotron. And for those of you who do not know what a mellotron is, it's a keyboard where you actually make tapes. You can buy little, like, endless tapes that you could get. The same as the old message machines for your phone. You'd buy the cassette that could keep going around to record your messages. But you could buy them pre-done, like strings and all that. King Crimson's used a mellotron, so all that stuff. It's all very proggy. What's Robert Fripp's thing with that? Tuning a mellotron doesn't. But what it is Gail Moran actually went to the trouble of taking all those cassettes and recording, just going, on everything. And she did this thing at the Palais in 1979. I was 19. That concert went for 4 hours. I had Dave Liebman in there and all that. But anyway, what happened? You had Gail Moran as her own choir. It was magical, unbelievable stuff. And so there's that. You see. And so what goes on is that with that, you've got your Jerry Brown, okay, with the drummer. That's what I'm getting back onto. Now, by this stage, it was very funky with a horn section and Stanley Clarke on bass. Oh my Lord. Some of that stuff, it's almost like predates Primus when I was listening to it. I said, that's a Primus sound in there, except it's 1976. You know, that kind of... Jerry was a race car driver. That was the same thing. So there's my lame emulation of Jerry Brown, I suppose. But now we have the Leprechaun. Night Sprite. Oh my God. And that is the album where Chick Corea introduced one Steve Gadd to the world. Okay, that was the album that everyone went, what the hell is going on? Steve Gadd, all that sort of thing. The influence of that man. Okay. Now, I've already talked about people like Roy Haynes to begin with, and what I've tried to do is almost like a jazz timeline from the mid-60s into the mid-70s now. And the people that Chick Corea played with, you know. So there's Roy Haynes. I've mentioned an obscure name like Barry Alshall, who I really like, and I love Anthony Braxton. I've still got 20-something albums if he's in the other room. Definitive room clearers. You put on an Anthony... If you want the party to finish and you want to go to bed, put on an Anthony Braxton album. Does the trick. There you go. No worries. That's a little tip from me. If you want to clear the room, put on Anthony Braxton. There you go. So what happens now, we're up to the Leprechaun, and one of the things about this I'm talking about Night Sprite. It's a lot of people think it's the best song on the album, but it's a beautiful album. Listen to the whole thing. But I'll take the. I don't really need that just yet, but now here's the tip when you're doing things like this. This is where paradiddles reign supreme, and what you want to be able to do. This is a tip. Of course, you build them up. Of course, you go fully with them, fully sick. You know, get them all down, plus the inversions. You've got 4 main inversions. You've got your basic, reverse, the outwards, and the inwards. Look them up, get them going, all that stuff. And what happens is the simple act of putting your bass drum with your dominant hand. So let me say, for me, right-handed, so right foot with the right hand. So your paradiddle, if I do this, okay. Now, Kate Welsh, that's the immigration song for you. I hope you're watching. I saw you last Saturday. Happy birthday for last Saturday. And there you go. And I mean the immigrant song. The story is that I was giving Kate some drum lessons. And she went home and said to Mark, and said, "Oh, Chris has taught me the immigration song." And it's been our ongoing joke for about 4 years now. Oh, the immigration song. Not that Bonham plays it like that, but it's a single paradiddle. But I'm talking about the Leprechaun, Chick Corea, and Steve Gadd. That kind of stuff there. So what happens is that your right hand marries the right foot. So what happens is it's a Dom Famularo thing. When I've had Dom Famularo on the show, and back in the 90s, and I'm honoured to know that he really likes my books and uses them, because he told me in an email. And so what happens is that one of the things for the show, which was sort of funny at the time, it was the same show. David Hicks, you were there that day. I remember that. It was a long time ago. Anyway, what happens? You say, attach. Imagine you have an imaginary piece of string. You know, that kind of thing. So you'd be there for the Moeller technique. You could go, eh. It was so funny with, oh. It was just, he's a card. There you go. He's a very funny man. And very generous man, too. And what it is you do the same thing. I don't have my boot cam today. I've just got the 4-camera shoot here. But what it is your foot, your right foot, does the same thing as your right hand. So it works the same way. And then there's a fair dinkum bit in Night Sprite that is a straight up single inwards paradiddle kind of thing. It's Drum City on that track. Keep your eyes on a bargain, Marcus. Drum City. Anyway, there you go. Marcus Sastamoinen, if you're out there, you remind me of that ad sometimes. You remember those ones, don't you? Anyway, and then the aforementioned, because I've done it with Neil Peart, dear Neil Peart, last year, all that with the open hi-hat. So it'll be like, boom, and do you want me to explain it again? What happens there is your left foot is with your right hand. Therefore, if you play a single stroke roll, your left hand's going to catch every open. Hey, the bass drum. That kind of thing. Have a listen to it, Night Sprite. There's another beautiful one, Lenore, I think, or Lenora, or something on side 1. I'm talking vinyl here. And it's this one here. Ugh. I am the leprechaun. There you are there, Chick Corea. Oh, that blew my mind, my little 16-year-old mind. When was that? That's right, 1976 it came out there. Lenore, it is. There it is there. And he was starting to get into all the imagery and stuff. So he was starting to do kind of, it's almost like a concept album kind of deal with the imps and the little in the garden kind of deal, you know. And then he went on and did Music Magic and all that with the aforementioned Jerry Brown and all that. Now what I've got here is, I mentioned it before, but my Spanish Heart, there he is in the Toreador outfit, that kind of thing. And there it is there, so it's beautiful. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a work of art, the old vinyl. I've kept that in pretty good nick. And I used to play the crappers out of this. It's a double album, you know, all beautifully written, all that. And once again, you've got the Mr. Steve Gadd on that. And one of the wonderful things about this album is very, of course, my Spanish Heart. It goes without saying that it's, of course, very flamenco, Spanish kind of orientated, but this gives me the chance to go down the track of using brushes once again. Any excuse to play brushes, and I did this just last week, really, doing the Latin bass drum. So it's all continuity, and Steve Gadd on brushes most of the time. The previous show was about taking things like this and making it a bit more African by putting in the other things like the left foot on a bass drum, whether it be a second bass drum or just on a double pedal. But I'm not doing that. I'm really playing it as is. So. And there's that beautiful. And I was saying this to Alessandro just the other night. Hello, Alessandro, how are you? One of my students. He was asking about brushes and coated heads and things like that. And I said, well, plastic heads, there's nothing for the brush to take. You need a coated head. So, because many people have like a coated snare drum head, but then plastic tom heads, you know, or plastic, clear tom heads. But if you're going to do certain things like that, all that stuff, it's good to get coated heads on everything. There you go. These ones are UV1s, Evans UV1s. Mark Inglesi, shameless plug. And that's what goes on there. Now, I'm starting to run out of time, and I'm still in the 70s in many ways. But let me fast track it a little bit for you here. I've got my notes. I just did the first couple of paragraphs, and to be honest, I know the rest because I just grew up with this beautiful, beautiful man and his beautiful, beautiful music and all that. And he's had a great life. He passed away at 79. Okay, and so that is a life lived, and the things that he's been able to do is just incredible. So it's one of those celebration ones rather than a tragic one, if you know what I'm getting at. I don't want to get too, whatever with that, but yeah, it's what a man. I haven't even mentioned Gary Burton, the incredible vibrophoneist vibraphone with Crystal Silence. Oh, I love that album. No drums on that one, but oh, the music is incredible. And there you go. But I'll keep on going a little bit with all of this. I haven't even talked about his acoustic band and electric band. And instead of C's, you put K's in there. And that's with a young Dave Weckl, you see. So the influence of this guy is not just the fact that he is a profoundly gifted musician. He took people with him. He discovered people. He'd take a punt on people and watch them develop. And they were precise and brilliant, and they did the work. You know, that's what you do. Time to change things around now. The world is changing as we speak. Do the work. Work out what you're going to do it, and work. There it is. Boom, boom. Hey. So what it is that was my diatribe. And so what happens is that there it is there. So you've got, there's that. He did some beautiful duets with Herbie Hancock. There's Return to Forever, Music Magic, all that stuff. Mad Hatter, Secret Agent Man. Arguably the worst cover of all time is Chick Corea Friends album, but it's a great album nonetheless. But the little Smurfs, ooh, playing around, But change the cover and everything's terrific, okay. That's the one with Sicily on it, that's right. Going back to what I said at the beginning. And there you go, all right. But when I get there it is there. Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea in concert. So just two grand pianos going for it. So it's gorgeous business. And yes, go up. There's only 6 songs on two records. Someday My Prince Will Come, Lisa, Button Up, February Moment, Maiden Voyage, and La Fiesta to finish, which is one of his songs as well. There you go. So that's all the vinyl. And just now you've got YouTube. What the hell is vinyl? I had a young student. I said, do you know about CDs? And the young lad sort of went like that. So I used to have a turntable over there, a second turntable, until it did stop working. And my young fellas would just look at it, and I put a record on. They'd be like, what's going on? And now it's CDs. CDs have gone the way of the dinosaur now. How's that? Or how's that? But there you go. That's Chick Corea. Armando and Anthony Chick Corea. There you go. I hope I've done him service. I woke up to that this morning, and so I've just sat down, pulled the albums out, prepared things, listened, said, yep, know about that, yep. Been a big fan for a long, long time, and I've seen him a few times. The first one being 1979 Palais Theatre, which I mentioned before. I missed his times with Dave Weckl. I was into other things by then, but then I came back to it, and then I've got a dear little crew. There's Kev, and there's Ange, and everyone there. And what it is we went to Return to Forever. We're back about 2012 or something like that when they came out. And that was a funny gig because Kev got the tickets all supposedly special, and we were at the back somewhere, so he was complaining. So I took off to the box and I said, this has been bought through we're supposed to have preferential. And the lady was really lovely and escorted us to about 12 rows from the front. And I sat down and I looked to the right and I've gone, Alan Zavod, how are you, mate? Because Alan, bless Alan's heart, was amongst my first people on the show back in 1995. And unbelievable. Chris, Alan. And Alan's mum was there. Oh, Chris, how are you? You know, all that sort of stuff. So it was great. It was like happy families. Terrific. Anyway, I'm going to finish off soon. Tips. Okay. What happens is I'll get back into it. I'll start to go over it a bit. Roy Haynes is how I started. Notice I've tried to do the timeline. I stopped a little bit in the 80s after Dave Weckl and all that, but it's the same thing applies with Dave Weckl in a lot of ways, because the Dave Weckl style is once Steve Gadd, or I think of it like Billy Cobham. I'm a Billy Cobham guy. I love Billy Cobham, and he was there with Miles Davis also. It was almost like the Miles Davis filter. Once you've played with Miles Davis, your career is set. And so Billy Cobham was there, played with Horace Silver as well. And then what happened? Steve Gadd came along. And then everything after that was like the next generation, you know, that kind of thing of the fusion, like that, because jazz rock started to get called fusion around in the early 80s. I remember that. Steve Gadd, Crazy Army solo and all that. I remember, oh, that's fusion. I said, isn't that jazz rock? What's going on? What's with the new name? Anyway, but what happens is Paradiddle City, keep your eyes on the bargain markets. Think like Lenny White, you know, like that real powerhouse. Something like that anyway. And then take the Jerry Brown kind of. That kind of stuff. And put it together and you start to get really a compendium of the kind of drumming that was really ruling, you know, your jazz rock in the 80s. Yeah. Sorry, but pardon me, look, hang on. I'm talking about the dudes who began it all. Yeah, the main guy, and Chick Corea was right there in the forefront of it all. So I'm saying it with love, with a smile, okay? So don't hang it on me for that. I'm just trying to keep a smile up with a miserable kind of day that we've got, you know, that kind of thing, lockdown and stuff. It's now is your time to practice like a little red-headed burp, you know, and just really get your chops together with all this sort of stuff, you know. So what happens is that with this, that's your Weckl. You move forward. Last time he came out, Brian Blade was drumming for him. And I know there's lots of others, but that's the point. Go out and check them out. Do the research. Hit wherever you can. Go onto YouTube, you know. Buy the albums, you know, that kind of thing, and go. Get going. Get cracking, you know, that sort of stuff. So I'll start to wrap the show up now. This is, I was bummed out this morning, even more bummed out by about lunchtime when the call came down. We're all online again. And I really feel for my younger students, you know, the little ones, because they don't cope so well online. That's why so many schools have got mentors now. It's just a year of catching up, and now we're back at it again. And you've really got to, that's my thing, knuckle down, go online, don't become a bog roll bandit, stay home, do your paradiddles, be a good boy. Try to be. Anyway, and what it is come out the other end, and we're a community, you know, and that's what we've got to do. And as a musical community, we've lost one of the greats today, one of the most influential musicians of the last 40 years, at least. And what happens is that when you're dealing with someone like Chick Corea, you sit down and do the work, honour him through the work. This work is right foot with right hand. That's so pervasive in Frank Zappa's music too, is that kind of thing. And you really lock it in. And then the sounds, you know, that kind of thing. And I've talked about brushes. I've done that a lot, actually. That's something from just last week and the week before in a big way. And now today, with Chick Corea, I'm revisiting it and then applying it to that, you see. So there you go with that sort of stuff there. Anyway, I suppose I'm out of here. Once again, another part of what he does is the advent of the electric piano and synthesizers and all different kinds of sounds. Go and check out the weird ass stuff with Anthony Braxton. That's getting back to Miles Davis stuff, right? Try and make your way through one of those albums. They are definitely room clearers. But you've got Keith Jarrett on there, Dave Holland, Jack DeJohnette. You're talking about things like the people who were central to the beginning of ECM Records, the European jazz label with Manfred Eicher. And it just started, it just exploded. Just incredible music, okay. So there you go, all right. There it is. I'm at the end of my thing here. Hopefully I'm not running out. But anyway, my name is Chris Quinlan. Today is a double Facebook Live for the honouring one of the greatest musicians of the last at least 50 years is Mr. Chick Corea. Best of luck, hey? And I will see you next week, probably here. You'll see how we go. It's all dependent on this business, you know, all that. And I was thinking the other week I don't get to play Doris as much as I used to, and I added all this blue screen on the sides and stuff to do all these things, but I haven't done as much as I wanted to, so I'll get back into that. And there you go. Anyway, as I said, my name's Chris Quinlan. This is dedicated to one Chick Corea, incredible, beautiful man, and God bless him. So there you go. I'm out of here, and I will see you next week, if not sooner. Plus the fact I'll have the 4-camera shoot up for you as soon as possible. And if the sound's a little bit funny here, don't worry. Right there is the proper recording as we speak. No worries at all. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey-ho. There we are. Now for a nice glass of lockdown beer.